Hi everyone. My name is Saurabh. This is my first time here and first time in Switzerland. So really delighted to be with all of you. I just a quick observation. You know, this coming here, driving here early this morning, getting up this mountain with a group where a lot of people like me are not even carrying snow gear. Uh, reminded me of I grew up in North India. Around this time of the year, there's a festival, and kids wake up early in the morning to fly kites, and there's a lot of excitement. But for a meeting, to have that kind of a passion and excitement and the intelligent questions, I'm so delighted to be part of a group like this. And Rob, this is a testament to your integrity and the letters that you write. I had a question regarding a remark that you made on Baidu. And Howard Marks once talking said that what should happen is not necessarily what will happen. And what I found remarkable in how you were writing was that I thought this would happen to the stock. This did happen to the stock. But I want to tell all of my partners that this is not how I thought it would happen. I thought that was very interesting. You decouple the process and the outcome. But in doing that, is there a chance that maybe you were also being a little bit too hard on yourself, in the sense that, if you have an FTA-like regulatory body, which is deciding who's going to advertise related to healthcare and so on, and sort of weeding out a lot of the bad players out. Whereas here, in the absence of something as strong as that, are we rightfully putting all of the blame on Baidu, or maybe we can give them some benefit of the doubt? Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So I don't speak Chinese, and I'm a long way from China, so I kind of have to think about Baidu in maybe slightly bigger kind of picture terms than maybe companies which I'm a little bit closer to. But I think I've learned an enormous amount by studying Baidu and the Chinese ecosystem, and of course comparing those learnings to to Google and the kind of job that it's done, and I think it's super important to realize that maybe in the very earliest years of the internet, there was a kind of a lock-in to a good search engine. The internet was new to people; they didn't know kind of where stuff was, and so they kind of required a search engine to get there, and that was obviously great for Google and also for Baidu. But today the situation is really completely different. So for the commercially valuable searches, so like a travel arrangement or a medical thing or e-commerce or whatever, there are wonderful vertical, effectively search engines. If you think of Amazon or Booking.com or whatever, which will do a very fine job for you of finding what it is you're looking for. They won't tell you how high is the Mount Titlis, but that's not really a very maybe there's some commercial value to that search because you might be looking to book a holiday, but it's not nearly as valuable as can I book a hotel. So why is Google? So does that mean search engines have kind of had their day, and Alphabet is no longer a valuable company? Does Baidu kind of give us a sense of what might be around the corner for Alphabet? Possibly, but I think what it definitely tells us is you better be doing an amazing job on search, because no one is obliged to come to your search engine. And using Google, for me, and I think for pretty much everyone, is kind of a delight. You kind of get amazed by the results that they give, and the different ways of inputting it, and you start typing and it already has the result for you. It's fun to use, and it kind of encourages you to kind of search for all kinds of crazy stuff where 5 years ago probably you wouldn't have bothered, because it would just take, it'd be too unlikely you'd get a good result. And I think that's the reason makes Alphabet such an amazing business. And they announced their results a couple of days ago, and the search inquiries were up like 40% or something. I mean, it's just amazing. This is a mature business, one of the largest companies around. It's been, it seems, forever. And they did almost half as many searches this last year as the year before, as half as many again. And that just tells you how much people love this, the search engine, and how strong their expectation is it's going to find them the kind of answers they're looking for. So that's kind of really what Google's moat is today. And I've got a horrible feeling, and I don't speak Chinese, and I'm not as close to it as perhaps a local person might be, but I've got a horrible feeling that Baidu's blown. You send people, medical inquiry, you send people to some commercial provider who shouldn't be there. How much? You're going to make a quick buck in the short term, but how much kind of goodwill are you going to destroy if that person has a bad experience in the longer run? And I travel in China quite a bit, and when you're in China, the type of feedback you get is, the thing people have a lot of enthusiasm for is WeChat and Weixin and maybe Taobao and Alibaba. Those are the kind of businesses which are delighting people and which kind of generate the type of enthusiasm I was talking about for Alphabet. And my kind of fear, and hopefully it doesn't happen, but my fear is that kind of Baidu is just going to become more and more marginalized as the kind of this universe of things that you can only find through a generalist search engine gets kind of smaller and smaller. So that's kind of how I think about it. And maybe one other point as well, which is a big difference between Alphabet and Baidu, is the commercially relevant advertisers in in China are much more concentrated than here. So, for example, for booking travel, there's basically Ctrip, and that's it. So there's not really much point in going to a search engine if you're always going to end up at Ctrip anyway. And I think that's what makes the situation Google's in a much better one, because there's obviously TripAdvisor and Booking.com and Expedia and various other ones, and this amazing search experience you get from Google. So there's much more of an incentive to maybe start the search at a generalist search engine and kind of see where it ends up.
Rob, can I just say something about Baidu?
Yeah, sure.
I read Chinese. I do business development, so I read a lot.
Shall I give you the microphone so everyone?
No, I just want to say a word about this, the Baidu and the Google example. The thing is that all the referrals now happens in WeChat. And WeChat, as if you don't know, is PayPal, it's Facebook, it's Uber, it's Booking.com, it's WhatsApp, of course. And we stayed for a while in Beijing, and nobody goes anywhere now except in WeChat. If they need a doctor, they go to WeChat. If they need to book something, they go to WeChat. If they want to look for a company, they go to WeChat, because WeChat has a business Facebook platform that's integrated. So it's a totally different approach, and also because of the uncertainty or reliability of what you see elsewhere, not only on Baidu but basically everywhere else. WeChat is, because it's a community and it's cross referral system, so people use that. So that's one thing. And the other thing is about innovation, and this is and Rob is correct. I went to a conference, and actually the three biggest tech leaders, Silicon Valley, Tel Aviv, and Beijing. So this innovation in WeChat and what it does and how it makes Baidu irrelevant is actually the kind of things that you're seeing in the Chinese market.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for that comment, and you really hit the nail on the head. And I'd love to be able to tell you that I heard that type of comment for the first time today, but I've actually been hearing it for the last 5 years.
Just one more thing to that list, and to play games.
Yeah. No, I've been hearing that for 5 years, and I was kind of too boneheaded to listen, and I felt much more comfortable about a search engine in China because of, I obviously know Alphabet very well here, but WeChat was definitely a much better opportunity, and probably still is today. And I think that's fortunately Baidu worked out quite well, but it could have been better. That's good. I want to get better.